What's up, guys? Welcome to Thoughts by Maura with me, Maura Sullivan. Listening to this show makes you an automatic member of the Hot Nerds Club. We like going in depth on things around here, not just scratching the surface, not just putting band-aids on bullet wounds, but getting to the root cause of things, the big things, the little things that come up in life for most of us at some point along our journey. Today, we are talking about getting ahead of the crowd when it comes to the New Year's resolution bandwagon, confession, full transparency in more recent years. For me, the idea of New Year's resolutions have started to give me the ick, and I could not quite put my finger on why until now. Because I have done episodes on goal setting and resetting for the year, a lot of my content is about getting your life together, healthy habits, routines, personal development. And so you would think that all of the New Year's hoopla would be right up my alley, but no. Like in true Maura fashion, my brain sometimes kind of just rejects things that are super popular and too normalized in our society. I'm just now realizing it's easier for me to accomplish my goals, to stick to my resolutions, to be consistent and disciplined when I am focused on living my own personal best life ever, not having the best year ever. It's easier for me to be productive and stay focused when I have clarity about the big picture life goal that I'm working towards. It's not just a dream. I'm actively making it happen, actively creating the life I want step by step every day, and embodying the person that I want to be as much as possible right now, as best I can every day, that highest version of myself. So it's a little just easier to make better choices, to stick to the plan when I can just ask myself, would the most ideal version of myself do this? Would they talk to this person, skip this workout, drink this drink, eat this food? I'm living according to the life that I want and the person that I want to be, not just living for the year I want to have. I'll also be talking a little bit about doing all of this and, figuring things out in the process of grieving and quite literally, actively living through the hardest time of my life. I do not care what else I go through in this life. Nothing will ever come close to the sheer heartbreak, devastation, trauma of losing my mom and pretty much having to come to my own rescue and save myself because no one else was going to do it. My going ghost, I know that's super popular right now, but my going ghost has not been fully by choice. I just kind of sort of don't have anyone but me right now. So we will get into that a little bit. I am getting over a cold, and so if my voice sounds different or weird, that's scratchy, that's just why. So I'm gonna get through as best I can without losing my voice in this episode. If you are listening to this, I do not want you to be someone who sets resolutions, goals, intentions, and then discards them 5 minutes later. I want you to get clear about what you actually want out of life and out of yourself and start living every day according to that as much as possible. If you struggle with New Year rhetoric or sticking to routines, habits, productivity, there's a chance you just need clarity about what you really want and who you really want to be. The reality is anyone who wants something bad enough will do whatever it takes to make it happen. Nothing worth having comes easy. The work, sacrifice, consistency is not easy, but staying committed to doing something, to doing what you told yourself you're going to do is easier when you really, really want the outcome, when you really want to see the results. And yes, depending on your goals, you will have to make sacrifices, say no to people, not spend on every single thing that you want, set firm boundaries, not people please, put yourself out there, wake up early, stay up late, all the things that I'm doing right now. Just speaking from experience, even though it's hard, it's fun knowing you're actively working towards everything that you want and that you want to become. It is worth it. My weekdays right now, I am up around 5:45 a.m. I turn on an episode of Dan Coe's podcast. I already have the ones that I want to listen to saved, so I do not have to look for one when I get up in the morning. I listen to Dan Coe while I do the whole bathroom, brush my teeth, put on sweats, hoodie, drink water, drink tea. Coffee gives me headaches, and so I drink tea. I have been alternating between Bigelow, Peak Energy, P-E-A-K, Peak Energy Black Tea, and Celestial Seasonings. That's the brand, Fast Lane Black Tea. By 5:10ish, I'm working on the next podcast episode, outlining, scripting. While I write the podcast, I'm usually listening to some kind of jazz in the background. I mix it up. I like French coffee house playlist, Italian dinner party music, always like a playlist or some kind of romantic music, jazz style album. Today I listened to Marcio Faraco, I think that's how you say his name, not sure, but he's a Brazilian singer, really great music. I don't understand the words he's saying. Obviously, he's singing in Spanish, but that is the beauty of music. I understand the melody. Like, I can enjoy the music without understanding the words. It's the vibe the music creates. I write until about 6:10 a.m. Then I get dressed. I go to my 9 to 5. That's actually 7 to 3. I work at a school. My go-to foods for work are literally baked potatoes, of course, and like some form of chicken patty, chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, usually some kind of granola bar for a snack. Kind bars or like the Belvita biscuit like cookie things are really good in the yellow bag. I like the cinnamon like brown sugar ones. I come home, I eat whatever's on hand. I have been making my own egg bites to have in the freezer on hand because I love eggs. The protein is filling without weighing me down. But eggs take too long to like scramble every day. I know that sounds weird, but like when you're really trying to get stuff done, you want to be as efficient with time as possible. And cooking does take a lot of time. So I make my eggs in bulk. To make the egg bites, I do 7 or 8 eggs. I cut them up. I cut up like little potatoes into pieces. I mix those in, any veggies that I have on hand, throw that in, or cheese. Best thing about egg bites is you can put anything you want in them. Sausage, bacon, steak, whatever. I bake the mixture in muffin tins and I freeze them in a Ziploc bag to have whenever I want. I like eating heavier earlier in the day and lighter later in the day. So my dinner food is actually breakfast usually, or like breakfast, lunch. And my dinner food is usually breakfast. Like in the afternoon after work when I eat, I'm usually watching an episode of Golden Girls and then I'm working on the podcast more until I fall asleep. What I eat varies day to day, but my usuals, like I said, potatoes are new to the rotation for me, like current fixation, because they're so easy. Like they're filling, they're healthy, and they're like, especially early in the day, the energy keeps me satiated and going all day when I need the most energy. My typical go-to foods: potatoes, eggs, chicken, popcorn, kind bars, frozen fries. I really do love a potato. Like mixed veggies, rice, green beans. I don't know if any of you guys were raised like poor enough to know what rice cereal is, but it's rice with butter and sugar. It was like a childhood staple in my house. You don't have to have them poor to eat it, but I know like a lot of people who like, you know, come from the hood or like, you know, were raised without a ton of money, like know what rice cereal is. It's literally just rice with butter and sugar, because it was like super cheap to make and so good. I'll do that sometimes, but I do like the adult healthier version. I'll use like organic rice, pure Irish butter, and organic stevia. It literally makes me feel like I'm 5 years old again, but this is my routine right now. I also do 30 minutes on the treadmill at some point in the afternoon or the evenings. This week I've been sick and I was also on my period. Sorry, TMI, but it's also good to note that I was on because I had much lower energy. So Monday I still did my whole 5 a.m. morning routine thing, but then I literally came in the house. I ate hibachi takeout, chicken and shrimp, fried rice, and then I slept from like 4:30 to 9 p.m. Then I still got up and did podcast stuff. That's when I did the Taylor Swift episode that came out before this one. So I still got stuff done, but it's important to know that every day does not need to or have to look the exact same in order for it to be productive. I still got done what I needed to get done. I just had to also honor my body and sleep. And you guys, I am not a napper at all. I can only take a nap like that when, honestly, like when I'm on my period or when I'm sick or jet lagged from traveling. I am not a napper at all. I'm not someone who can just fall asleep, which is shocking, I know, considering we all know how much I love sleep. I cannot just sleep on the spot like a lot of people can do. It has to be like going to bed for the night kind of sleep in order for me to actually fall asleep. So when I nap, I know that I have no other choice because it is such a rare occurrence. Anyway, I want you to know that like every day will not look the exact same because there's so much pressure when it comes to goal setting and locking in and going hard. Nothing will get done if you don't have the energy to do it. And that means sometimes you'll have to sleep or just take a break or rest or watch an episode of your favorite show for a minute just to remind yourself that you are not a robot. Even though like you're sticking to your habits, routines, staying on task, working really hard, Rome was not built in a day. The most important thing to do, is, what I got from Lauren Bostic, The Skinny Confidential, do something every day that moves the needle forward. For caffeine, in addition to the teas, I also have added Bloom energy packets to my rotation. Bloom, Bloom. They have energy packets, like they sell it like in a box, and there's individual packets of like energy powder, caffeine powder. Little powder packets of caffeine. I used to use Celsius packets for a while, but Celsius like made my stomach feel off, like made me feel sick. I think Bloom has cleaner ingredients. No shade to Celsius. If like there happens to be a Celsius ad on this podcast, I do not hate Celsius. It definitely works, like energy wise, but Bloom is just more my speed. I don't have it every single day. It is very strong, but it's a part of my caffeine rotation. I get the packets from Amazon or eBay, which sounds weird, but eBay sells stuff that's like super expensive or out of stock on Amazon. That's one of my like little hacks. Pretty sure they are in Target too. They're just called Bloom energy powder packets. Super strong if you're looking for a new caffeine situation, or if you're like me and can't really drink coffee often. Bloom I really like. The season I'm in right now, like I said, is locking in with this show, like this podcast, because I now have the time to, even though I'm still working 7 days a week, I have a little more time. Getting off at 3 or some days even earlier is so different than getting off at 5:30 or 6 p.m. every day. It makes a big difference. Even though I'm in earlier, I'm used to being up and out early anyway. Having more time in the afternoon is a game changer for me right now. And working closer to home, I also have a little more time in the mornings too. That makes a huge difference. I've decided to name this season my Harvey Specter era. He's basically my alter ego at this point. It's a little bit of like both channeling my inner Harvey Specter and Dan Coe. One is a fictional character, the other is a real person. Harvey is one of the main characters from the TV show Suits. Dan Coe is an influencer, author, personal development guy. Dan, his last name Koe. He's super popular. He has millions of followers. I'm sure someone listening to him knows who he is if you're into like the personal development YouTube world. But I've been using inspiration from both of those men to change, refine, upgrade my life recently. I'm also thinking of this as more like tapping into my divine masculine. I'm not trying to sound sexist or caught up in gender norms, but for me personally, my like inner divine feminine is a housewife. I just want to read, cook, bake, be a homemaker, take care of my man, my imaginary man right now, but you get the point. Like if I focused on being feminine and just operating in my feminine energy at all times, I'm just being honest, nothing would ever get done. I mentally have to kind of think like a man when it comes to work, which I've always done. I've always worked a lot and been a breadwinner, independent breadwinner housewife, in the words of Kenzie Elizabeth. She coined that term that I love so much, breadwinning housewife. But I've always worked like 10 times harder without even thinking about it. Right now, I'm just choosing to call it tapping into my divine masculine, because it's using a different part of my brain, because my feminine urge to be a princess who does nothing but sit there and look pretty all day is very real. And I know I could have that life right now if I settled for a man that I don't actually want, but that's another story. The point is, I know what I want out of life, and it's easier for my brain to work toward it when I, for lack of better terms, embody or channel my inner Harvey Specter and Dan Coe. And yes, there are powerful girl boss women that I am inspired by, but for whatever reason, these two men resonate the most with me personally. I know deep down, like I said, my feminine urge is to just be a retired grandma housewife. But right now, I'm not a real grandma. I do not own a house, and I am in fact not a wife. And at the moment, like at least not legally, like I'm fully married to someone in my head, but that's beside the point. Joking, not joking, you'll just have to stay tuned. Anyway, I have to earn a living, and the life I want for myself is not average, it's not normal, and so I have to not be average and not normal to get what I want. If you know anything about either or both of these men, you know they are very successful. They built the life they wanted for themselves, became the highest dream version of themselves, and managed to come off not as total arrogant assholes, for lack of better terms. Like Harvey Specter does like teeter on the line of being arrogant, but like the thing about Harvey Specter's character is it's written so well. He can always back it up. Like Harvey does not just talk the talk, he walks the walk. He paid his dues, he continued to work unbelievably hard to get to where he is, and he knows his stuff. Like both Specter and Co. That sounds like a business name. They're not like Specter and Co. Like I kind of like that. They're not like the stereotypical mediocre white men that I did a whole episode talking about. They're smart. Yes, they're still white, handsome men, like, which is about half of what it takes to be successful anyway, if we're being honest. But they know their stuff and they put the work in to get where they are. And that makes them seem like more humble and just more down to earth because they knew what it was like to be at the bottom and did what it took legally, for the most part, to get to the top. Harvey, not always legally for Harvey, but his heart was always in the right place. Like he's such a popular character because it's so hard to pull off being so unbelievably successful and confident and hot and wealthy and still be loyal and have humor and a good heart, even though Harvey definitely put emotions and feelings aside to be successful. That's kind of what I like about him. Like his character development shows him getting a little more in tune with his feelings later in the show, but I do think there's a lot of truth to having to sometimes just ignore your feelings just to focus on getting the life that you want and becoming who you want to be. If I listened to my feelings all day, like I said, nothing would get done. It's like my feminine urge to cook and to bake and read all day is so strong. The masculine in me has to be fully turned on in order to overpower it. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but I'm still operating in my feminine when it comes to being creative and the music that I have on in the background. It just takes me needing to tap into a more masculine energy to get me out of bed at 4:45 a.m. every day. And right, like that takes me thinking like a man, to be honest. The work is feminine and creative, but in order for that to be a thing, the masculine in me has to get up. Like I just have to wake up. The lifestyle that I have and have had for a long time does resemble that of a workaholic. I will admit that, but I also work so that I can have the freedom to do what I want when I want. Like whether you like it or not, you need money to survive. That's just the name of the game. I like making money, and I quite literally have no one but me. No one's coming to save me, no parents, no siblings. So it's do or die. I don't have a choice. And also having a positive relationship with money gives me more peace in my life. It's hard to explain if you have a negative, poor relationship with money. I still prioritize the relationships that are important to me. I still have fun, a lot of fun, because when I go out, I go all out. People think that, those of us who work a lot don't have fun or don't have a life outside of work. Working a lot allows me to live the life that I want and to have a lot more fun. Work to live, not live to work. This podcast is also work, even though it's something that I love, is actually my favorite thing to do because I like all the work that I do. It's just a part of my life and who I am. I don't really think about it much because I enjoy all the things that I do. Creating is my favorite thing to do more than anything else. Remember that you are more than your job. Even when you love what you do not get too caught up in job titles and positions. Make sure that you also pay attention to the kind of person you are and who other people are, not just what they do, because someone can be amazing at their job and not be a good person in all professions, from athletes, singers, doctors, lawyers, teachers. The person is more important than the job that they do. And people can be working their dream job and still have it all and still be unhappy. And so I'm very focused on the kind of person that someone is, because everything at the end of the day comes down to that. And it is possible to work a lot and still have a life. I am blessed to be able to work jobs that leave room for me to enjoy my life. I've always had this inner knowing that I never wanted to be someone who lived for Friday, meaning that I work with a lot of people who every single day, all they say all day is just, I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till Friday. I have set myself up to not care what day of the week it is. I'm happy. Not saying that work is not hard, not saying that I have not been in that place before and that I don't still experience that. But I do very challenging work. It's just I'm intentional about the jobs that I work and how I spend my time and my life outside of those jobs. I like money, but all money ain't good money. Like, I've turned down promotions and fancier titles and positions that pay more because I know that I would not be happy and would not have the mental freedom and energy to still work on this and do other things that I love. Do what you got to do. Where I am right now is not always where I've been, and I'm still not 100% where I want to be, but like, I'm not where I was, but you know what I mean? Like, you have to live according to like the season that you're in. Do what you got to do, with where you are in life. Everyone's situation is different. Just sharing where I am and what works for me. I know this is cliche, but do not take advice from people who are not where you want to be. You can take their opinions into consideration and be respectful of their input, but nothing that anyone says is Bible, including me. Like, listen to the people who are where you want to be and who have a similar way of thinking and the lifestyle that you want. When I listened to Dan Coe for the first time a few weeks ago, I think it was his, hold on, I'm actually going to scroll because it's such a good YouTube video. I'm going to go through my YouTube history and pull up a video that made me start waking up at 4:45 a.m. and just start taking this podcast and just taking my life so much more seriously. It was pretty recently, so it should not be hard to find. August. I love that YouTube keeps receipts. August 16th, literally almost a month ago, I watched a Dan Coe video for the first time, and my life has not been the same. It is his video called I'm 28. Here's how to get ahead of most 20-year-olds. And the thumbnail says, ignore everyone. I turned 27 this year, so of course I'm his target audience for that video. Very well on the marketing of that. But I listened to him talk in that video, and it was for the first time I heard someone really put into words how I felt about creating my own future aside from a traditional 9-to-5, work 100 years, retire, maybe enjoy some of the fruits of your labor for a short period of time until you die. He's also one of the few creators that I've come across who emphasizes the importance of developing the skill of writing. Writing is a skill that's not talked about enough because how you communicate is everything. Storytelling is everything. The words that you use are everything. And he really talks about writing in a way that I've been thinking about it this whole time, but haven't been able to articulate. If you're someone who does not fit in, does not check the traditional boxes of society, as more of a rebel when it comes to living a more normal, average life, watch that video on YouTube, Dan Coe. Just type in Dan Coe, I'm 28, and that video is going to come up. His videos are all podcast episodes, which I now listen to every day. He's literally been getting me out of bed before 5 a.m. every day and motivated to work on this show as much as I can and do, everything in my power to build the life that I want for myself, which is actually happening. A lot of things in my life are changing, and it's a little scary and overwhelming, but I'm excited because I know exactly where I want to be and need to be. Before I let you go, I actually want to talk a little bit about working and, how this whole divine masculine idea has surprisingly been helping me through my grief journey, because a lot about my lifestyle and personality, I'm just now realizing, is more on the masculine side. Even though I'm very feminine, it's hard to explain. A lot of it comes from being raised by a single mom who had to be that provider, protector for herself and for me. My dad has never been in my life. My mom had to do it all on her own. And now I'm independent, providing for myself, handling everything on my own. So it's just having to lean more into my masculine energy. I'm actually going to do a whole episode on high functioning depression and opening up more, getting more in depth about losing my mom and not having immediate family, being single, not having a big friend group, this weird position that I'm in, experiencing loneliness, but also thriving in solitude, thriving solo. I've always thrived the most when I'm just doing my own thing, but it's hard. And I've heard so many entrepreneurs, Dan Coe included, and it's also alluded to in Harvey Specter's character in Suits, that it's lonely. It is lonely being someone who does not fit in, whose life isn't normal, who is more of a rebel and just different. and then add the whole, like, me being someone who has such an old soul and an older taste in a lot of things to the mix. It's just like a recipe for a lonelier life. And I'm an only child. Like, my mom was my best friend, and I feel like I have not been able to fully grieve because I'm in survival mode right now. I realized real quick that no one was coming to save me, and I'm also just wired to thrive in solitude. Even though I have amazing relationships and great friends and great family, in a lot of ways I'm very much on my own, and it's not easy. Like, I'm 26, you guys. I'm only 26. I've had to figure out a lot of stuff really fast, really alone, and so I will be getting more in depth about that in a different episode. But in this episode, I just wanted to touch on things that have helped me to work and be more productive and start building this business while I'm also going through the worst time in my life. Like I said before, I don't care what else I go through. Nothing will ever compare to losing my mom at 25. Like, absolutely nothing. And like, her being my only immediate family on top of that as well. And this podcast is now monetized. Thanks to you guys listening. I am so grateful. Go listen to my episode on finally getting monetized after 3 years. But this is now an online business. And like I said in the beginning of the episode, a lot of like these influencers and people have the luxury of going ghost and going monk mode and being in isolation by choice. I've had to figure out how to thrive in solitude, not really by choice. I just literally do not have anyone but me right now. I don't have parents, siblings, tons of close friends. Like I keep saying, broken record. I have incredible friends and family, but no one replaces parents or siblings. I'm single. I don't have that support from a partner. So I've had to figure out how to be this comforter, provider, healer for myself. I'm single by choice. There's people I know I can be with, just not the right fit for me right now. Could change. Oddly enough, work, my 9-to-5 jobs, and also like building my online stuff has been so helpful on this grief journey because I have other things to focus on. Having a creative outlet specifically has been the best thing that I could have during this time. I am an artist at heart, a writer at heart. This makes me so happy. It's so therapeutic. I do have this like vision in my head of going on like a grief retreat, which might sound weird. Like I talked about it in my mental health day episode, but I know that I like have not truly gotten away to just breathe and actually relax and have the space to grieve for like a long period of time because I'm doing everything on my own. Like, but just to tie this back into the divine masculine thing, I know a lot of men, especially the kind of like alpha boss about their business kind of men that I tend to be like drawn to, like a Harvey Specter type, get a bad reputation for being emotionless and not being in touch with their feelings. It's not always obvious, but I'm very emotional. I'm very sensitive to energy. It probably is obvious on the podcast because I like spill my guts on here, but like I feel everything, like not just my own feelings, but other people's too. So it's actually helpful to me to like quote, like think like a man and just ignore my feelings sometimes and focus on getting done what I need to get done, tapping into that kind of masculine energy when I need to just focus on the facts, like thinking logical, taking emotions out of things all the time and just getting ish done. Like I will cry and journal and vent about things later, but I also need to take care of business and have goals that I'm achieving and things that I'm building that require me to like man up. Like that just is what it is. Like perfect phrase for this. I should just name this episode Man Up. And I'm like more productive, more efficient. The work gets easier when it's focused over feelings. And like I'm not suppressing my emotions. I'm just saying like not right now, when I know I need to be in the zone and work, and when I get done what I need to, I can feel all the feelings I want. Same thing as compartmentalizing. I just think of it in terms as like tapping into my own like personal masculine and feminine sides. You don't have to use labels. I know anything gender related can get sensitive or can be sensitive. This is just what resonates with me, what works for me. It has been helping me when it comes to grief and being on this journey, processing. Like I said, I will definitely get deeper into grief stuff in its own episode. I hope that some of this made sense. It's a little hard for me to articulate some of this, but that is it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, share, rate, and review this podcast. Make sure that you have it saved to your library so that you do not miss any episodes from me. If you're listening on YouTube, give this a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. My YouTube is my name, Maura Sullivan, and the handle is Thoughts by Maura. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye.